Hey there.
Hey, there he is.
There we are.
It's happening.
It's happening. I remembered to start the broadcast, so we're on the air.
You've been doing pretty good with that for a couple weeks. You've been remembering to start the show.
There's only really one time that I really blew it.
It was a really bad time though.
It was a really bad time because we did our best work.
It was unrepeatable.
Yeah. The show's going to get really a lot better though in a few weeks.
Sounds like that's going to require more work from me. I don't know if I like that.
No, you don't have to. You're not going to have to do any more work. But I'm going to be back in California, which means it's going to be 6 hours earlier. So, 3 hours earlier for me, because it's 9 o'clock here on the East Coast, which is my bedtime. You have no response to any of this. That's dead air.
Well, yeah. So you can start it early. You're in other words, you're saying you're happy because
when I'm back in California, the show will be starting at 6 o'clock my time, which is 3 hours before my bedtime.
That's true.
So
you could also move it around because I stay up later than you, so I'm not afraid of staying up until 11:30.
Yeah, but if we did that, then it would be approaching my bedtime again. We don't want me falling because I'm tired. I'm ready for bed now. I have to stay up and do this.
Okay, this show's going to start any second, so why don't we just settle down? Oh my God, we've started. This is the show. This is the show.
About other things. How are you doing?
My God, hello. I'm fine. Well, now you've frozen. You keep freezing. That scares me because I don't know.
Am I still frozen?
No, you come in and out. You just glitch out. That's a matrix problem. It's very interesting.
Wow,
as a matrix problem.
The glitching, that's actually me. That's not the internet. It's just me.
That's what I'm saying. You keep on going in and out of this dimension.
Wow. Am I still?
No, you're good. It's good, but just occasionally. It's happened 3 times since we've been chatting.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah.
How was your week?
My week was good. Good. The end of this part of this teaching job was over, which was a little bit stressful. So I'm happy about that. I have a little bit more free time coming up, where I can binge watch some things and get a little bit of reading done. I'm looking forward to that. Meaning being unemployed. I'm looking forward to that in the sense that it's coming up. So I'm forward in the future. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not happy about it.
But you're going to be leaving the house soon, though. You're going to be able to leave the house soon. You got jabbed, right?
Yeah, I got the first jab. Both Amelia and I did.
Did you have side effects?
Did have side effects. Nothing bad, I felt kind of crappy and hungover for a couple of days.
Yeah, it feels so happy to feel that way.
I'm told it was that is a good indication. I don't know. Is that true that it's working?
Supposedly it means your immune system is just really kicking into high gear, and that makes you feel lousy.
Okay, so if you feel bad, that means your immune system is working, which is a good sign.
Yeah,
it's counterintuitive. You'd think feeling really bad that you were all messed up and you weren't working.
Yeah, that's why I get really nervous if I'm feeling good. I think I must be coming down with something.
Oh, that's for a different reason.
Okay.
Nervous because you feel good is a whole other reason.
Right. I took my daughter for the vaccination on Friday.
Hey, that's great news.
And I have to tell you, when they my son got his first dose. He's older, so he's able to go on his own. He got his first dose on Thursday.
Great.
She got her first dose on Friday, and I had to go in with her because she's underage. And I got to tell you, when they injected her, I got teary-eyed. And not like, oh no, she's getting a shot, but
Yeah.
it's that feeling of, oh, like starting to be able to take a breath.
I'm sure. Well, you're a dad, so you're not you cry at things. Dads can cry.
Yes.
I mean, I can hear this story. I'm listening to you, and I'm like, oh, cool. Is that cool? I don't know.
Yeah. Right. That's cool. What? Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
and then I get teary-eyed at everything though. I cry at Hallmark commercials.
But you got teary because you're afraid of needles.
I am not afraid of needles. I'm gonna give a cry for help though too now. I think I need an intervention on something.
Oh, okay. I have a feeling I know what this is because you were talking about some ice pops last week, and it
You
scared me.
knew that's where I was going?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll sit down after dinner and polish off 10 of them. 10 of what Mom calls, you know what they're called, right? Do you remember what they're called?
They're called fruit pops or something.
Otter pops.
Okay.
Pops. But our mother has a different name for them.
Utter disasters.
No, she calls them Oster sticks.
Okay. Oster sticks.
Oster sticks.
Well, I think oster sticks aren't those like ostrich jerky sticks?
Yeah.
That you get at the right at the point of purchase.
Yeah.
There.
Mom got very excited.
Oster sticks. So you probably okay. Well, I mean, you do know it's literally just like what hummingbirds eat. It's just that.
Yeah, it is. It is. You're right.
Yeah. There's a lot of sugar in that.
Don't put the flavor in it when the hummingbirds are eating it. Oh, freezing again.
There was a little glitch in the matrix again, but we're back.
We're back. Okay.
So yeah, you're fully vaxxed though, right?
I'm fully vaxxed. I'm past the 2 weeks. I went up to Marblehead, Massachusetts this past weekend for a few nights to visit.
Oh, that's right.
An old and dear friend. I'd never been to that part of Massachusetts before.
Were you visiting Joel?
I was visiting Joel. Beautiful house right on the water. When I woke up in the morning, big plate glass window, water, just ocean outside that window. Couldn't even see any land.
Wow.
Ocean and shipping containers. I mean, ships with shipping containers.
Okay.
Not shipping.
Just floating around in the bay.
floating around. Yeah. But it was very it was just gorgeous. Just really
that's
beautiful.
awesome. I didn't know that he had a place up there. Did he?
He has a sister and brother-in-law who have a place up there, and they also have a place in Florida, and they're riding out the pandemic in Florida. So he's riding out the pandemic in this gorgeous house right on the ocean.
Amazing.
We don't know anybody who would be able to actually. The people who have houses on the ocean don't associate with us.
No, that's why I got confused.
They're a better class of people.
That's why I got confused. So he's fully vaccinated. You could give him a big hug and have dinner and
it was amazing.
Share bites of pasta. That must have been exciting.
Yes, we could have. We didn't.
Okay,
but we could have.
It wasn't like Lady and the Tramp. I don't want anybody to get the impression,
right,
that it was like that. That's great. I can't wait to be footloose.
And you will be a week before I head to LA, so we'll be able to break bread together.
I certainly hope so. But our incubation time is longer because we're not.
Right. But I looked at the dates. You had your first, then 4 weeks later you have your second, and then you have 2 weeks, and I'll still be here for 1 week after your second.
That's great news because I was like thought we'd maybe just like have a dinner at the airport lounge or something.
We can do that too, but I'm not flying. I'm driving. So
right. There's just a nice restaurant there that I'd like to take you to.
That's where we would meet. Yeah.
That's great.
Well, my friend Richard
Hey.
your friend says woohoo, Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Huey, Dewey, and Louie is indeed
So
correct.
I think he wants us to start
Yeah,
talking about
enough of this. Enough skirting the issue.
There's
Enough.
one other thing before we start the show, though. I want to give a little thanks for something that happened this week.
Okay.
This yesterday, that there was some justice served and some hope for some peace and progress in our land.
I concur. It was a very, very heavy and powerful and beautiful day to see that could happen. Because I don't know that we all thought it was possible, but thank goodness it was. Justice for real. Or the beginning of it anyway. Yeah. It's certainly a start. But it's a step in the right direction. I mean, all charges. That's a statement.
Yes.
All charges.
Yeah.
No dilly-dallying about.
No.
No waffling.
No. Let's split the
kind of murder. No, like full on. Completely justice was served. It's great.
There was no fine people on both sides.
No.
Fine people on both sides.
No, but we're not. We don't want to.
We're not partisan.
We don't want to give the idea that we have, any feelings about this one way or another.
No.
But thank whoever's just thank you.
Yeah, I often a phrase that I often use is thank the little baby Jesus in whom I don't believe. But I give thanks anyway.
I'll thank whoever, I'll just thank them now.
Or somebody said to me, I don't believe in, I'm saying thank God, even though I don't believe in God. And I said, in the words of the great Mark Cohen, ma'am, I do tonight. Right?
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. That was, you were asked about how my week was, and I should have led with that because that's obviously this is a great week because of that. No matter how things were before, it really changed some stuff.
Yeah.
So, Silent Running. This is a movie pod. This is a talking movie show where we talk about movies.
Even though we're almost 15 minutes into it, we do.
Well, we don't. Yeah, but I don't want to give the impression that we know even about movies. It would kind of be. I think we've been doing this for almost a year now, and it didn't even occur to me to mention this until now. But don't anybody out there get the impression that we know anything about this at all, nor about anything else. But we should do it anyway.
We shouldn't say that because we both teach, though, at universities, we both teach film. So
I mean that in a deconstructionist way.
Oh, okay. Yes. All right. Good. Deconstructionist. I love that. I like to do deconstructionist like lasagna.
That's just pasta.
Deconstructionist ravioli.
It's just pasta with meat sauce. Yeah.
Right. But if you call it deconstructionist lasagna, then you seem like, wow.
At the literary bistro.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Are you avoiding talking about the film?
No, because this movie filled me with so much joy.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
For so many different reasons.
Yeah.
In spite of the fact that it's horrible on so many levels.
We're talking about, of course, Silent Running from 1972, I think.
Yeah.
Directed by Douglas Trumbull, starring Bruce Dern, and some other guy. Ron Rifkin.
Ron Rifkin, you got to say it.
Well, we got to say it because this is. I was a little busy today to pull clips, but I had to pull clips just because of Ron.
Ron Rifkin before being bored was working for him.
Before the diffidence had set in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the movie. this was made just a couple years after 2001, a movie that Douglas Trumbull had been a special effects supervisor on. And I'm going to guess that there was a slightly larger budget for 2001. That's what I'm going to guess. That might be accounting for the discrepancy in the effects. Although there are some pretty classic effects in the movie. I mean, those ships. Did you? Okay, sorry, I'm just spinning now.
Go ahead.
Just let me not spin out. I'm just going to stop.
You want to talk to like lay the groundwork first?
Well, when did you see the movie for the first time? You must have seen this in the theater.
The first time I saw this movie was at starting at 4:30 this morning. Was the first time I ever saw this movie.
How could you not have seen this?
Well, here's the thing. As I was watching it, I could not believe that I hadn't seen it, because at North Country School in 1971 or two, I went off for those people who don't know, and why would they? I went off to boarding school at the age of 11 in 1971 to a very progressive school in the Adirondacks called North Country School.
I think we're all old enough to admit that you were sent. You went off is a very, I don't know what that means.
Okay. I was sent.
This isn't a Wes Anderson movie. You weren't like, Mom, Dad, I'm going to go to boarding school now.
Yeah, I was sent to boarding school at the age of 11. And it was an amazing school. It had a working farm. We grew a lot of our own food. Everything was organic. And it was the kind of school where when Billy Jack came out, they rented out the theater in town and bussed the entire school to go see Billy Jack. Because of the message of that
Billy
movie.
Jack is written into my notes because
exactly. Yeah. This is Billy Jack in space.
It's Billy Jack in space. I can't. This you just blew my mind and made me so happy.
I was watching it, I was saying, how is it possible that the whole school did not get on buses to go see this movie?
That's
because it is so of its time.
That's exactly why I would have assumed you would see it. It's the same year that Billy Jack came out. It's the same time period. It's got,
almost the same score.
I know. I mean, I was thinking about this cluster of movies that came out around that time that had a song or a particular song in it that became more famous almost than the movie was. Like there was the Billy Jack song, which was One Tin Soldier, right? Tin
Soldier rides away.
There was, remember, Bless the Beasts and the Children. There was that movie.
Yep, with our friend Miles Chapin.
Yep. There was Billy Joe McAllister jumping off the Tallahatchie Bridge. Yep. There was that movie. And then there was another one I was thinking, like you could almost put like Nilsson, like Me and My Arrow in there too. But that flavor that Billy Jack has, I can't believe you said that, because that's such an esoteric connection. There's nothing about this that is Billy Jack, except it is literally exactly the same.
Yeah, it's like the same people who made Billy Jack decided, let's make a space movie.
Yeah, and the corn and the trees are the hippie children.
Yes, exactly. And he's Billy Jack gonna protect the hippie children.
So okay. So this is interesting because
Ron Rifkin is the sheriff.
Oh boy. Really. Ron Rifkin is going to be the recipient of a video meme that is just specially for his work in this movie.
There is an actor who plays a big role in this movie, though, who only in voiceover. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Wait, yeah, who is it? Oh god,
Joe Campanella.
Okay,
Joe Campanella, who for some indiscernible reason was not in The Godfather.
Right.
Like he's the one guy in Hollywood who looks like that, who wasn't in The Godfather.
Yeah. Yeah, he was tied up. He was doing a Bond movie or something at the time.
Something like that. Yeah.
So you didn't see this in the theater, and you never caught up with it on TV because it was on television on like local here in New York, like on channel 11 or channel 9
Yeah.
all the time.
Never crossed my radar.
Wow, that's so cool. It's kind of like a movie that I don't think I'd ever sat and seen the whole thing. It was just always, it was just part of growing up because it was always on TV. So I knew parts of it. I just never, it gets super talky. So it's not really for kids.
No. But, you know, when you watch this movie and you think about the very first Earth Day was April 22nd, 1970. And they must have started working on this movie right after that, somewhere around there, because this movie came out early 72. So they had to have been writing it and thinking about it, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember that first Earth Day was such a big deal. And for this movie to come, and terrariums, right, were you know, late 60s, early 70s, terrariums were really hip, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
And Buckminster Fuller, and we're going to do geodesic domes and protect, you know, and all of that is in this movie.
Yeah. It's also like a really crazy anti-hero, anti-establishment, like severely anti-establishment movie.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly like zesty on the fighting the authority.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Which I love, but I was surprised to the extremes to which Dern goes. Like, yeah, that's a big surprise.
But then, you know, what's odd is that with all of that, you get this at the end of the movie. Right?
Yeah.
Like, special sincere thanks to every division of the military industrial complex. Thank you for helping us make this anti-establishment movie.
Yeah, that's why the military got hip after that, and they stopped, you know, they stopped doing that. They stopped helping out unless the ideology lined up. That's crazy. Yeah. I know that, you know, I don't know. What I've read is that originally the script didn't have that ecological bent to it. The original script was more like a movie that you would like
about
traditionally
an old codger who's resisting authority,
right? Who goes off on his own and breaks the rules and kind of does his thing his way.
Yeah.
And because, you know, I mean, that's you in a nutshell, man.
So like me.
You're just like, you're a wild stallion. You can't be controlled.
Wild horses can't be broken. Wait a minute. Sorry. Something else.
Yeah. So I just, you know, they really do test the limits right away, which is kind of great because the opening of the movie is a close up of a slug and a frog and a turtle with Joan Baez singing. And ordinarily, if you want to clear a room for me, these are the things that you would have to do.
And then a rabbit.
Yes.
Looking really cute. Yeah.
But that kind of redeems it. I mean, it starts with, they don't even lead with the rabbit. They start with fungus and then a close-up of a snail.
Yeah.
And
was that a snail or was that a teamster? I could never figure out which somebody on the crew.
Wow. So
I'll never work again.
Hey, you're not working now. So what's the difference? Yeah, so, you know, and then you got the Joan Baez. Now I could only get with the Joan Baez move ironically, kind of like I couldn't fully accept that. That didn't warm me the way that they wanted it to.
Really? Even though the music was written by Peter Schickel or
PDQ Bach?
PDQ, the PDQ Bach dude.
It's incredible. Well, some of his score is actually pretty great. I think, you know, the main theme is really good. But then they were really heavy on the Joan Biden.
Children dancing in the sun.
Yeah. This is kind of arbitrarily hippie-ish. Like
Yeah.
mud and toes and dancing in the sun, and I remember those lyrics.
Mud and toes.
Mm-hmm.
Two of my favorite things.
Mud and toes.
Mutton toe or mutton toes.
Mutton toes. You've
Yeah.
heard of mutton chops. Get ready for the new craze. Don't wear those
right.
skinny jeans and get some mutton toes.
There you go. Some of the other crew. Well, you talked about Douglas Trumbull, right? 2001.
Sure. Yeah.
Andromeda Strain, Star Trek: The Motion Picture, Blade Runner,
And Brainstorm.
Directed Brainstorm.
Yeah, he was a really cool guy. I mean, kind of started out as an animator and then got into photography and photographic effects, and he's responsible. If you don't know who he is, like, he's probably most famous for the last 30 minutes of 2001. That's the trip through the that weird altered dimension that the astronaut goes down, that tunnel of light,
which apparently the surfing the rings of Saturn in this movie was something they wanted to have some of those effects in 2001 and couldn't do them yet.
I'd read that as well. And so take that, Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah,
Douglas Trumbull coming for you. Got the rings of Saturn.
And then John Dykstra,
who was a kid,
was a college student.
Yeah,
who was hired to work on this movie.
Who went on to rule the galactic world of Star Wars.
Yeah. And then the writers.
Here's my guy. Come here, buddy.
Stephen Bochco. Stephen Bochco, who redefined television with Hill Street Jews. I'm sorry, no, Hill Street Blues.
That's right. That was surprising to hear. Yeah, I mean, and the other thing was like that Bruce Dern. This was his first breakout from being a bad guy on TV, essentially.
Yeah. And still perfecting his technique of acting with his mouth open.
He started his own school.
Yeah, it's
called a gape theater.
Yeah, it's always open. I call it the open mouth technique. Little photo of the open mouth acting technique there, which he's a big fan of.
Now, I feel that you're, I don't know. I feel like you're getting a little testy with Mr. Dern.
With Mr. Dern?
I mean, that was not a respectful thing to say to an actor of his generation and stature. I'm not saying it was wrong. I'm just saying it was. We can't just move on as if that didn't happen.
No, I think he's done some amazing work, and I've always enjoyed his work. But you cast him because you're looking for a particular thing.
You're looking for somebody like Jack Nicholson
who's less expensive.
Yeah. I didn't want to say it, but you did.
Yeah. He's gonna be odd, and he's gonna stand out.
But he doesn't. He also doesn't always have to. He also can tone that up or down too.
Yeah.
There's a movie called. You ever seen The Trip?
No.
That would be a fun one to cover. I would like, if anybody's interested, and you can tell us during the show or text us through or email us through the Apple Podcasts, right? There's a way to. Are we alone in space, or can people get in touch?
No, there people can get to us through our website, arkinbros.com. There's all kinds of ways to get. We're easy to find.
Because a 60s rebel psychedelia binge might be fun.
Ooh, could be. I could also just have a post-traumatic stress reaction to
you don't like that, right? Okay.
No, they can be good, but they can remind me of bad episodes in my childhood. So,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, Bruce Dern in this movie bears a remarkable resemblance to somebody who was my stepfather for a period of time.
oh, okay. Okay. That makes sense.
Who's
from
a
where
great guy. Who's a great guy. But that's sort of very sort of, no, man, gotta save the planet. You know, that stuff
Mhm.
like, whoa, okay. There's
Good.
kids here.
Yeah. Don't save the planet. There's kids around. Stop that. Stop saying you want to save things.
Well, don't save it that way.
Oh my goodness.
Geez.
I did feel like I was at a bit of like a school trip. I feel like there's something about like watching this movie that makes you feel like you're looking at a Viewmaster or like looking at the movie through a Viewmaster.
Yeah.
You know, or like that it brought me back to like going on a school trip and seeing a movie in a museum with like creatures in cages, like groundhog, and you know.
Yeah. I have to ask you a question too. Is there there's an homage to 2000 I mean, there's a couple, I think, but there's a very interesting reversal homage to 2001 in this movie that I think I caught. You know the moment I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
When the robots go outside, when he starts acting weird, the robots go outside in space to be alone so they can talk about him.
Yes.
I'm not making that up, right?
That's actually true. I think that's actually true. And then if that's the case, that is. It's also in the sense that, you know, it's a flip of 2001 in the sense that it's a human that does what Hal does in the movie. You know, Hal's a computer that goes offline, kind of, and Dern's a person that goes offline, but he does it for the right reasons and does horrible things. We're just going to say it.
People.
Spoiler, people. He kills every other person in the movie. He kills everybody in the universe in his universe. Yeah. He kills more people relatively than Thanos did.
Well, wait a minute. Does he kill the people on the other ship?
Yeah, he jettisons.
Blows up his own ship.
No, he closes them he shuts them inside the botanical thing that explodes. They can't get out.
Right, on his ship. Yeah. But he doesn't, at the end of the movie, he doesn't kill the people in the other ship who are.
No. Well, we don't know. He might, but no, I'm talking about he just kills all the people that we meet in the movie.
Yeah.
Only all the people that we actually know in the film.
But that's only three other people.
He killed 3 people in cold blood, in a rage. And doesn't spend even 30 seconds seeming to feel bad about it.
He wonders about it. He has a couple of little flashbacks.
It's like he does. I would say you're right that he wonders about it.
He wonders
about it. As far as it goes. He just wonders about it.
He like goes, wow, I really killed those people, didn't I?
He's like, I did kill them, didn't I? Yeah. I wonder if I did.
Yeah. And then he teaches the robots how to bury them.
And return them to the soil.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah. You know, this is also you could flip this around and make this the beginning of a great space vampire movie, because you've got the crates of Earth. You've got a guy buried on that thing.
Oh.
You're one seed pod away from great space vampire sequel.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And then the sequel will be called Running Screaming.
Now, do you know about the actors who played Huey, Dewey, and Louie?
I was worried about talking. Thought we would get here, and
And we have.
and we're here.
Yeah.
I have to say, I didn't know how they did it.
No, I didn't either. And I was watching it and saying, those are clearly somehow being operated by people inside them.
But it wasn't. I didn't get the. I mean, they did a great job with covering. I mean, they don't look like real robots, but I couldn't ultimately think of what else they could be at a certain point, because you're not expecting what it is, how they were operated.
Right.
And I gotta say, like, I'm glad that I hope that I hope that everybody had a good time. I just hope that they did.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope they got work. It'd be nice if they could have been in something else.
Yes.
With, with lines of dialogue.
Lines of dialogue. Yeah. Because while people may be wondering what the heck we're talking about, but what Anthony and I discovered is that they had multiple amputees inside these small little robots, which are really precursors to R2D2.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, they're like the droids in, like, a little bit like R2, or like the robots in the black hole. Similar
to that, but really kind of advanced. I mean, the robotics I thought were really compelling to watch.
Yeah, Trumbull, I think, does robotics too. Like, I think he knows about that. And at least they had a team of people that did. And so the mechanical arms and stuff, those were actual robotics. Those weren't operated by people.
No.
But they'd have, like, people, double amputees in these costumes, and they would walk using their hand. They could walk using their hands on, blocks, I guess. And the way that the suits are designed, it's really cool. But I also, when I found out how it was done, I was like, every time I find that out, I'm like, oh, cool. Oh, okay. Like, I hope, okay. I hope this is good. I hope they had a good experience, and felt like actors and were treated with respect. And I hope so.
Well, they certainly did. I thought, really, and this may sound strange to say because they're in robot appliances, we don't see them at all, but they did manage to convey character and emotion in the way they moved them and responded to things. I mean, one of my favorite moments in the movie is the board toe tapping of the robot at one point.
It's great. I didn't mean to imply that they didn't do a great job, in the suits. They were great. I thought they were really convincing, and they're probably my favorite characters by far, actually, in the movie. They definitely are. I just meant that, like, anytime I hear, anytime there's a part in any movie, and I just always felt this way, where, like, the part is, they cast it because the part is, there's something physically that they're looking for, like,
right.
It's a person with one leg, or if it's a person who's heavy set or skinny or whatever, that I just always feel like, how would I feel if I were cast, just because I happen to have that feature,
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, it's neither.
And we're
here
not
nor
going to
there.
talk about which one that would be for you.
I've made a lot of money. Let's put it that way. I've made really good money, but that's not good money. It's not money you really want around.
You're not proud of it.
No. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not even like striving to be, like, sensitive about this. I honestly do think about, whenever I see a part that's like, it's a 2-line part or something, and it's not, they're not really a character, and they're just there to be physically the butt of a joke or the thing. Yeah. And that it goes to, like, people who are, shaped in a way that could get them into a suit that covers them up. And there's something so funny about that.
Yeah.
But they were great. They actually were really good, like, really memorable characters in the movie, and they were kind of my favorite things about it.
I want to apologize to the people who are going to be listening to this on the podcast, because I have some photographs that I want to show my brother Anthony and get his feedback on on a couple of things.
I'm wonderful at describing photographs to
Okay,
people.
so I want you to describe these photographs, and then I will ask you questions about them. So we will start with this one because I wasn't quite sure what I was looking at here. It looked vaguely familiar to me.
Okay. Yeah, they're saving some money everywhere they can. They just happen to have some movie equipment hanging around the old Starship.
Yeah. So this was sophisticated sophisticated
These are
Starship
C-clamps and tripods in a box.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And then another thing I had some questions about was the incredibly sophisticated computer discs that have to be inserted, circuit
floppy disks, circuit board
inserted into the computer, which actually appear to have wooden dowels on them.
They are made out of cardboard and they wiggle around. I mean, there were a couple of details that you're just like, really, like you got some of this really good. You can't see that's a block of wood.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. A couple more. You'll have to describe this to the audience.
This all gets cut out of the audio podcast, right? We edit this part out.
No, they're going to hear this.
Oh,
yeah, they're going to hear this part here. Apparently, and I'll describe this. Apparently, the very sophisticated food that you eat in space consists of marshmallows, Brussels sprouts, Rice Krispie treats, and cubed ham. I think.
That's also looks like they're uncooked Brussels sprouts for
they're
sure.
Uncooked Brussels sprouts. I think that's got to be.
Yeah.
And then apparently human beings evolve to the point where instead of blood, we just we bleed. Where is it? It's here somewhere. Oh yes, we bleed. Because that's the worst representation of blood I've ever seen in a movie. That's just somebody spray painted his leg with red paint.
That is
right?
that is like a Hammer horror movie. That's the color of Hammer horror blood right there. Yeah, okay. That's just paint.
It's like, what am I looking at here? And then the other thing I thought was interesting was that at this time in the future, I did love the fact that Mummenschanz was still around, apparently performing in space. The spacesuit
pandemic Mummenschanz because there's just no toilet paper. Other than that, it's
right. He looks like he's in Mummenschanz. And then this picture, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think I'm seeing just bubbles on the mat painting there. You see what I'm talking about? Where it like didn't get squeegeed down enough, and there's air bubbles in here. There's air bubbles.
I don't. It's not. I can't see it clearly enough.
Not clear enough in this picture,
and it's certainly nobody would be able to hear them on the audio podcast.
On the audio,
we're looking at a picture of a spaceship.
I'll stop with
against a matte painting that has some defects in it.
Which
is too bad because the matte paintings were some of the better. I mean, those effects were not bad; they were pretty good.
They're terrific.
You know what the budget was on this movie?
$17.
Okay, well, no, that was 71. That was in 72.
Yeah,
so that was $72. It was $1 million. $1
million.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You know how they shot it? Where they shot it? Did you read all about that?
On a destroyer or an aircraft carrier, a battleship that was had been commissioned.
Yeah. I think it was an aircraft carrier. But because it had a big deck. So I guess I don't know, it could have been a battleship as well. But yeah, because they couldn't afford to build all those sets. There was no way. So they spent the whole time crammed into one of those.
Yeah, but it was very effective.
Pretty good. They used some of that stuff in Battlestar Galactica too.
One of the things I really liked about it is that they didn't gussy it up like this was a.
What does that mean?
They didn't make it. They didn't fancify it.
I see. Yes.
Make it look. It looked very utilitarian. We have to go work in outer space and cut corners the way it's like,
and drive our go-karts around like mad. I understand why they needed something like that in the movie, but I don't understand why they thought that was acceptable. Because that was just terrible.
Hey, I do want to back up for 1 second though, because you made some very good points about the actors playing the drones.
Okay.
So we should say their names. Mark Person, Steve Brown, Cheryl Sparks, and Larry Wisenhunt.
Fantastic.
Were the actors playing those roles.
Did we look up? Did they do other stuff?
I didn't really see other credits for them. I checked them out.
That's interesting. So they probably weren't. Then they may not have been even actors. They may have just been people that they hired through something other than a casting service for acting. Because that's a big credit. Like if you're gonna do that kind of work, that was a pretty big movie. That'd be like being Penny Baker.
They do get an introducing at the end, right? In the credits, didn't they get?
I don't watch credits. I'm off to something exciting.
Who cares?
By the time the movie's over.
Who worked on this movie and
it does have. I mean, it's safe to say that this is the worst stunt ever in the world that ever got shot in a film. Is Ron Rifkin the best actor who's the worst stuntman, or did he have a double for this? So that somehow they spliced the camera, they spliced the film somewhere in there so we can't see that someone else took that fall, or was that Rifkin? Can you answer? Are you there, Matthew? Can you talk to me? I feel very alone. You've frozen again.
What up for us here? That's Rifkin.
Ron Rifkin? You did for a second.
Froze? Oh, am I back?
You're back.
Okay. Well, I'm going to share the Ron Rifkin. You want me to share the Ron Rifkin clip, right?
Let's set this up. Ron Rifkin and one of the other teammates, one of the other astronauts, are running around the ship. They're looking for where to put the nuclear devices, I think.
To blow up the ship because it's been recalled to Earth. As
you do. Because whenever you leave,
you don't care about trees anymore.
Who cares?
We've never told anybody the plot of this movie.
No. We did say that Joan Baez was singing to a tree frog in the beginning of it.
That's really
it really does set it up. And Bruce Dern's in it, so somebody who eats granola is in the movie. Is it yogurt? This is a guy that eats a lot of yogurt.
Right. And they're on a ship which is part of a fleet which is preserving all of the different flora and fauna from the planet Earth because nothing is alive on Earth anymore. People are just the environment is completely regulated. There's nothing living. Everything's completely manufactured, and they're preserving everything in outer space. And something happens on Earth, and the planet Earth, they're like, you know what? We don't need that crap anymore.
Yeah.
Blow it all up and come home.
Yeah.
And all the crew are, we get to go home, finally jettison all this crap, these animals and plants. Who needs it? And Bruce Dern rebels and takes off kills his crewmates and takes off with the ship.
Straight up murders his crewmates.
Yeah.
This is like Alien if Alien were a person.
Well, the first one's an accident. Kind of a fit of temper. The second two.
It's not an accident. Listen, okay.
All right.
Now we have to have a serious discussion because you're a lawyer, or at least you used to be, and you have to know the distinction between an accident and just murder.
But it's in a state of heightened emotion. There are mitigating circumstances. He was
In
upset.
the heat of passion doesn't mean it's an accident.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
I mean, it's actually specifically not an accident if it's the heat of passion, because, it's reacting to something very specific.
All right. Okay.
It's a better podcast if we just say, which is true, he straight up murders everybody on the ship with him. He disagrees with them, and all they're doing is carrying out orders. Now, I am very sympathetic.
All the Nazis were doing is carrying out orders.
Okay, you really don't have to do that.
I actually lost the argument because there is a theorem that says the first person who, when you're having an argument, the first person who brings up Nazis loses.
Is that an actual theorem?
Yeah, it's an actual thing. It says, like, if you have to resort to bringing up Nazis,
that's great.
You've lost your argument.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Okay.
Well, actually, the theorem is that every argument will eventually somebody will bring up Nazis.
Okay.
And the corollary to the theorem is that the first one to bring up Nazis loses the argument.
That is really good.
Yeah.
And I do think you lost the argument, but I like to think it was because I won, not because you brought up Nazis. However,
okay.
I think that it's fun because they're flipping around the rules on this. They're flipping around 2001. They're kind of doing anti-2001. So I like to flip this around and just kind of notice that this is actually Alien, the movie Alien, if the xenomorph were played by Bruce Dern, which right. I think you could make a case for him being able to fit into the suit.
Or
he may have played the xenomorph.
Or it's Noah's Ark in space, but Noah turns into a murderer.
Into a homicidal maniac.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Noah turns out to be Jason from Friday the 13th.
So set up your clip.
Oh, the clip is this is why Ron Rifkin gets so much work. Let's put it that way. This is why Ron works so much.
Okay, here we go. And we're playing it now.
Ow! Hey, you all right? You better get Lola to fix that for you. Damn. Really?
Yeah. Please, could you play it again and crank the volume? I worry that it's too good to miss if all you're doing is hearing it in the podcast.
This is the loudest I can get it here.
Ow! Hey, you all right? You better get Lola to fix that for you.
What? Were you even really looking at how he fell? I don't know how he did any of the things that he did. I don't know why he fell. I don't know how he cuts his hand. I don't know. He literally cuts his own hand on that tree.
Yeah.
You can see him do it.
Yeah, he sticks his hand in there.
It's like, oh. And then he doesn't let go of the branch for a second, like as if it's pulling him. And yeah. I've looked at that clip a bunch now.
No,
and I don't know. I don't know why that was printed. I don't know why that was not left on the cutting room floor.
That was pretty extraordinary.
Couldn't you just have had Ron talk to Bruce Dern without him having to fix his hand, for instance? Once they shot that, couldn't they have just said, we don't have to put that in the movie because that's really not very good.
But I think what they were doing was a really sophisticated exposition to establish that Bruce Dern was also the medical officer on the ship, who is then going to have to operate on himself and train the robots how to. No, I'm being an idiot.
I think the robots could have known how to do. I think they know how to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So Ron Rifkin's fall. I thought that was going to play better. I wish somebody out there listening might type in and say thank you for playing something funny, because Matthew didn't seem to love it.
No, I love that. I love that clip.
It's the worst stunt I've ever seen.
It is the worst stunt I've ever seen. And Ron Rifkin is not somebody you would expect to be doing a stunt.
I don't hold it against him.
I didn't know that Ron Rifkin. My assumption was with Ron Rifkin was that he started acting in his 60s. That he
That's what
he arrived.
Yeah.
He arrived fully fledged as an old man. Like the idea of him as a young man and
like married for 30 years, like that's how it started. Just already.
Yeah.
He looks young, like he'd go to a nightclub. This guy, like, what the heck is going on?
Ron Rifkin.
No.
But then my kids, my daughter saw a picture of me a couple, like 2 years ago. She saw a picture of me from my 30s and called me up, Daddy, you had hair.
Oh,
and, it's like, yeah, I did not always look like this. Yeah. Which is, I hope you're all watching the podcast. Because on the podcast, I look awesome.
Well, if you're listening, I hope you're paying attention to whatever it is you're really doing. You don't have to be watching the podcast if it's a podcast. Just so you're clear.
If you're driving,
just listen. Don't watch it. Don't have to watch.
Don't watch the pod. Yeah,
I explained the pictures.
Oh, here you go. You got a little love here.
Hey, thank you, Seth. Thank you.
There, you got some. Do you feel better? Do you feel better?
I do feel better. I'm glad. It's nice to know, that somebody has got my back.
Yeah. Now you had another clip you wanted to play too.
I did. I mean, this actually kind of like sets up Bruce Dern's character, and it's a little speech that he gives, which sets up just how he feels about the state of things. It's a very, very early 70s vibe to this whole ethos, which I can get behind. Let's be honest.
All right.
I'm a 70s guy.
Well, let's hear it.
On Earth, everywhere you go, the temperature is 75 degrees. Everything is the same. All
going great.
Well, if it's so rotten, why do you want to go back?
Because it's not too late to change it.
What do you want, Lowell? I mean, there's hardly any more disease. There's no more poverty. Nobody's out of a job.
That's right. Every time we have the argument, you say the same thing to me. You give me the same three answers all the time. The same thing. Well, everybody has a job. That's always the last one. But you know what else there is no more of, my friend? There is no more beauty. And there's no more imagination. And there are no frontiers left to conquer. And you know why? Only one reason why. One reason why. The same attitude that you three guys are giving me right here in this room today. And that is nobody cares.
I think Joe Biden studied that clip getting ready for the second
I bet Joe Biden loves this movie. That wouldn't surprise me.
He would love this movie.
This would be the kind of movie I could see him deliberating actually taking the whole family to, because it would be important. There's some things in this film, kids, that are important, and I think you should see them. Some of it might disturb you, and it might be a tad adult, even though it's G-rated, like straight up. It's a G-rated movie.
Yeah.
This is a movie where he murders 3 of his friends in cold blood. Rating system's so fascinating, isn't it? Fascinating.
But, murders 3 of his friends in cold blood. That's what makes him my kind of guy.
Well,
right?
Now we got a person that Matthew can have a drink with.
The kind of guy I hang out with. Stone killer.
I was thinking about, like, I thought it was a shame that there were no women in the movie. I thought there could have certainly been a female or 2 on board.
Right.
And then I thought, maybe they didn't because most women were too smart to spend 2 months on a destroyer with a bunch of dudes in 1972.
Yeah.
But maybe they were like, well, if he can't kill a lady. in cold blood. That would send the audience out feeling just too conflicted.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Like that would have been, I mean, why not? What's the difference if your friend is a man or a woman and you kill them? It's just, you're still killing your friend.
Yeah.
But that may have gotten them a PG-13
That
or
would have
R.
been PG-13. Yeah. Do you know,
Especially if he killed her in the shower or something. Like, that's where I thought the movie was going.
do you know the story behind the watering can?
I do. Why don't you tell it? Because thank you for segueing to hear from my horrible jokes about this. God. Oh, things are going well. Okay. Yeah. That's a very sad story.
Sad story. But I think also, interesting that he would use that. The very, very sadly, Bruce Dern and his wife, the wonderful actor Diane Ladd, lost a daughter at 18 months old from head injuries falling into a swimming pool, and Bruce Dern brought onto the set, and it's used in the movie, a watering can that belonged to her. And actually, in the scene that's oddly moving at the end of the movie, after Bruce Dern is blown, he jettisons one last of the geodesic domes with plants in it, with one of the robots in it, and he jettisons it to travel off into space to save the plants and trees, and then he blows himself up. And the last shot of the movie is this lonely robot all alone in this geodesic dome, watering plants and trees with this watering can that had belonged to his daughter. And it was a very moving scene without knowing that, and then becomes an even more moving scene when you know that connection.
Yes.
But then Joan Baez starts singing, and it becomes slightly
less moving. Yeah, somewhat less. Yeah, it's got
the robot alone.
Well, and the other thing that's so cool is that's where they got Wall-E. Let's face it, Wall-E comes from that movie, the end of that movie.
Yeah,
I mean, it almost looks like Wall-E.
It also made me think of that last transmission from that rover on Mars or whatever, where the last transmission was, "I'm cold, it's getting dark," or something like that. Do you know about that?
No, but these stories are really disturbing. Now we're getting even now this is even worse. What's happening?
One of the rovers, one of the NASA or JPL rovers that was on, I think, on Mars, was, or maybe, I don't know if we've sent stuff to the moons of Jupiter, but it was, there for years doing its science experiments, and then its batteries started to fail, and its last transmission was, "I'm cold. No, I'm cold. It's getting dark."
Oh my God!
Something like that.
Oh no!
Abigail, my daughter, read that and called me. This was just 2 years ago. She started crying, like, "Oh my God!"
I'm gonna start crying. That's awful. These are terribly disturbing stories. I'm sorry. This has gotten to be very grim.
Well, do we have something perky to bring us up before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I think we just go back to the fact that this is a G-rated movie in which the main character kills his 3 friends and then commits suicide. It's G-rated. I just put that together. I don't know why I didn't actually think of it in those terms before now, but it's true. That's what it is. I think it's safe to say it's the only film of its kind. The only film that could be considered G-rated for children in which those things happen.
Okay.
and in which several nuclear explosions take out the last living things on Earth. That's the other thing that's pretty heavy, but that's
all
just
the trees,
baked into
all
the story.
Yeah, and rabbits getting killed,
just senselessly killed.
Yeah.
It's cold. It's getting dark. I'm cold. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah. Last broadcast.
Ugh.
Yeah. Pretty bizarre.
So Joan Baez, I'm gonna say there was an uptick in sales for her records after this movie came out. This had to promote her. This had to be a mutual, of mutual help. She probably got a new fan base out of it.
Well, she was a big deal, though.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore.
I don't hear her songs on the radio.
They're not.
I know that I don't hear them a lot on the radio anymore.
You don't hear them a lot. No.
I bet she's on like, Pandemic. What is that radio station? Spotify. On Pandemic FM.
Yeah.
Satellite Pandemic.
Yeah, I'm sure you can find her on Spotify. I have a Spotify account. They have everybody.
You have a soft Spotify in your heart for her.
Yeah.
But see, that's funny. Do you like Joan Baez? Because I would think that would immediately remind you of all the hippie nonsense that.
Yeah, in a bad way. Joan Baez gets me in a bad way.
Anybody that asks me to start crying before they say anything, I'm like, come on.
Yeah. No, she. I mean, that was a little too. There's some hippy dippy folk music that I like. And some that sent like the Go Ahead and Hate Your Neighbor, Go Ahead and Cheat a Friend. That's a great song. One Soldier. That's a great song.
Apparently the ethics that you believe in. This noir thing is in that song very heavily.
Exactly.
Go ahead, cheat a neighbor.
Yeah.
Go ahead, kill your friends. Blow yourself up in a spaceship. I don't care.
I'm Honey Badger. I'm the Honey Badger.
Honey Badgers don't care.
Yeah.
I do want to say that I think they should remake this movie. And I think it would be a great movie to remake right now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this would be timely. I was thinking, who would you cast in it? I'm gonna say I would cast Jeffrey Wright as the main character and put him as the gardener in space.
Yeah, that would be good. Jake Gyllenhaal would be.
Jake Gyllenhaal can be in anything. Come on, let's face it.
Yeah,
he's a big star, Matthew. He's fantastic.
How about okay? I'm gonna have to work on the Ron Rifkin role.
You know what? If you made the lead a woman in the remake, she could kill many more people and get away with it, and no one would be upset.
That's true. Jennifer Lawrence could kill 13 or 14 people before the audience turned on her. So let's go with that. Be fine with that. Yeah,
but she can't kill herself.
No,
she won't sacrifice herself. I doubt it. I doubt she'd go for that.
We could remake this movie and call it A Promising Young Botanist.
I haven't seen that yet. I got to check it out. Have you seen it?
I did see it.
I mean, I know it's off topic. It's not Silent Running.
No,
but are you going to say anything about it or not?
No, because there are people who connected with that movie who could hire us someday. So it was no matter what.
Now they know what you think of it.
No matter what I think.
Now they know.
Spectacular.
Now they know. Glad you didn't care for it.
I thought it was there were a couple of things that I had quibbles with. Okay. I don't think it was a bad movie. There were a couple of things I had quibbles with.
Namely that you weren't getting any residuals from it.
A lot of it was that I wasn't in it. That is a problem.
I have a big problem with a lot of movies.
Problem with so many things these days. Yeah. So what are we going to do next week? Is there a monkey branch we can swing from?
Well, I think I'd like to know whether we're done with our science fiction riff here. We move to a new. Do you want to move to a new genre?
We could move to. I can. I'm easy. I could go any which way.
Well, we all know that makes for thrilling, exciting drama. Is someone who doesn't, is ambivalent. It's just so thrilling.
I'm anything. I can take it or leave it. I'm dying at some point to do a rom-com streak, because I know you will just hate everything that I love.
No, that's not really true. I get a bad rap for that. There are plenty of rom-coms that I love, and I just hope you pick the good ones.
Okay.
No, I mean, like,
is Joe versus the Volcano done too much?
I hear it referenced once in a while, but no one really talked. It wasn't a big hit, and nobody really talks about that movie.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
Well, we're not going to disagree on much of that. I do love a lot of that.
Okay, well, then let's forget that. Notting Hill.
Okay. You know, since if we're really going to do this, if we're going to rom-com town, you gotta. I don't want you to. You know, I agreed to do Escape from New York. Okay, I agreed to that. You need to. I don't know if Notting Hill's important to you or not. You
agreed to do. You mean you agreed to do it in spite of the fact that it was important to you, and you thought that I would not like it.
Essentially,
that's what you mean. Okay.
No, I mean, just don't. I mean, is Notting Hill a movie you care about or not?
You
like it?
I like it. I'm not gonna like sit there and defend it as being a great.
Okay.
But I love it.
Are there
Love Actually? You know, I'm just trying to pick movies that I know that I think will make your skin leave your body and climb up the wall without you.
Okay, then you know, I've seen some stuff, not all. So you know, go do your worst.
Well, no, everybody sees Love Actually all the time. I mean, that's a perennial class. Let's.
Is that the one with Bill Nighy?
Yeah.
Where he plays an old pop star or rock star?
You either wrote. Yeah, he plays an old pop star. Seth Michael May is telling us to watch The Trip.
Okay. Well, I thank you, Seth, for backing that up. I think that's a good one, but I think Matthew may really not enjoy it.
Well, then let's
really upset.
Then let's go for it. Let's go for it.
All right.
Why should I enjoy my life?
No, that's not. You know, look, you were invested in the rom-com thing. You wanted to do it, and then I feel like you got to. No. I want you to champion it. I want you to try to get me to like this in a way that
you to like rom-coms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or to get me to consider going to, like, because I don't want to. Don't give me a bad rap. I mean, I don't hate rom-coms.
Right. Okay.
I literally don't.
Okay.
I love Bringing Up Baby too much for me to hate rom-coms.
Okay.
But it's never going to be the first choice. Like your job would be to try to get me away from pressing play on the horror thriller on, you know, second to the rom-com.
Well, rom-com is never going to be my first choice for a movie either. I mean, I end up watching a rom-com because you're on a date and let's watch the rom-com, but then I end up loving them. But
okay.
The one that the movie I always want to see is going to be like, you tell me that the latest In the Line of Fire came out, I am there. Like that is the movie. In the Line of Fire, Patriot Games, those kinds of movies, I'll crawl over broken glass to see. And then somebody says, "Oh, yeah, I want to see the rom-com, the latest," you know, and I'm like, "Oh, all right, I'll go see that,"
right.
And I end up loving it.
Okay.
Right? I mean, I resisted seeing Love Actually forever. I'm like, I do not want to see that piece of crap. I don't want to see it. And then I'm like, oh, I love this movie. I love this so much. Oh, I'm getting all kinds of feels.
I don't know why my go-to warm, cozy feeling is just a psychotic trip to Helltown. Like that's what gives me the warm.
And you're criticizing me for liking,
I'm not criticizing. I'm just noting it. There's no criticism.
For loving the hero in Kiss Me Deadly.
That's truly horrifying.
Kiss Me Deadly. Yeah.
I just really want to.
But I think if we're going to go to the rom-com route and really test ourselves, we would have to see one of the rom-coms, which even I haven't seen any of the rom-coms starring Katherine Heigl. Now there's a test.
That could be a good test. That could be a good test. You could do that, or there could be like who else does some of those? We could stop there. Let's just say Katherine Heigl.
Okay, we're gonna watch. We're gonna pick a Katherine Heigl rom-com and watch it because even I won't go there.
Okay, we'll see if this is let's use it as a test to see if we're missing something in our lives.
Okay,
because maybe we're making a mistake. Maybe we should really be going to that kind of movie. Instead.
So tune in next week for a Katherine Heigl rom-com.
Which one we don't know, but
we don't know. It will be announced. Okay. We'll talk about it in 27 Dresses. Seth Michael May is saying, is that Katherine Heigl? Answer quickly, Seth. Quick, type. This is live. People are listening.
Seth isn't. We don't pay you, Seth. We don't pay Seth for this.
We're not paying him, but I want an answer.
I think that we have Google and we can figure that out.
Okay. Is that Katherine Heigl's 27 Dresses?
It might be.
Yes, it is. He says it is. All right. So next
week, thank you. Okay.
27 Dresses starring Katherine Heigl, unless it's not available on any of our streaming platforms.
Does she kill her friends and commit suicide in a nuclear space explosion?
It is available, he says. All right, great. We know what we're doing.
Thank you.
We're probably both going to be sorry. Except I will predict that if I am sorry, you'll be happier than I am. You'll be happy that I'm sorry.
If we're sorry, we promise we will watch Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants for the next one.
For the next one? Oh my God, are we going to do Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants?
If we have a bad time with this one, we're going to do Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants for sure.
Okay, awesome. All right.
And or Yaya Sisterhood, if that is a thing, isn't there?
Yeah, there is something.
But that's not really a rom-com. That's more like a girl power movie.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make fun of that because that
is not a rom-com. It's a. We'll figure out what we're gonna do following 27 Dresses. Maybe after 27 Dresses, we have to do 50 First Dates.
We'll do I know. We'll do movies about clothes. So we'll do that, and then we can swing to So Fine if we can find it, which would be amazing.
Okay.
And then there's a new horror movie comedy about jeans that kill people.
Oh, okay. And then if we want to kill ourselves, we can watch the Daniel Day-Lewis movie about the guy who makes clothes.
Oh, okay.
So that's a much newer movie.
We're coming out swinging against P.T. Anderson on this show. I didn't know we were going to do that. No, I mean, I just didn't know. But if you're concerned about working again in the business, it's funny that you choose to pick on Phantom Thread. I just want it to be known I didn't say that. Matthew and I don't share our views on that film at all.
I haven't seen the movie. I don't know anything about it.
Okay. I think you'd hate it as much as you think that you'd hate it.
Oh, really?
You might. I think that you might. I don't know if it's your kind of movie. It's not my kind of movie either, really. It's just interesting.
I'm clearly never going to work again.
You got to see it, though.
Yeah,
The performances are great.
the only way I'm ever going to work again is if some of my students start making movies and hiring me. Play the old curmudgeon.
You've been teaching for a couple of years, so sooner or later somebody's going to graduate and give you a job.
Oh God,
That's all I'm banking on too.
Yeah, really. All right,
cut,
so, next week, 27 dresses. God, I am so excited.
I can't wait to.
That was an accident.
I can't wait to. That's great.
All right.
You should end every show that way. Please, let's end every show cutting somebody off in mid-sentence. That's great.
Oh, we've devolved into silliness here.
All right. Dresses. We're going to do it.
27 dresses. All right.
Good night, man.
buddy.
Good night out there.